2 words of Jesus change everything. Follow me. Follow me. And that was no social media invitation. You see, this is an invitation to come outside of yourself, to step into the life for which every single person in this room was designed to live. Do you know, are you aware that we have the greatest message in the history of the world? That if you're a Christian, you have been told the best news that can reach human ears. That to you has been entrusted a story that is going to echo for all eternity. A story that should be our most prized possession. This is what the Apostle Paul says at the beginning of the book of Romans. For I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed of the gospel of God, for it is the power of God unto salvation for anyone who believes. Question. Turn to the person next to you and say, are you ashamed? And my hope is for every Christian here, if you're not a Christian, you're figuring it out, that's fine. But if you are a follower of Jesus, that you can look confidently back into that person's eyes and say, I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed. I am not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of Jesus. I'm not ashamed of his story. I'm not ashamed of what he's done for me. I'm not ashamed to die for this message. Better yet, I'm not ashamed to live for this message and face whatever comes from the people that are around me. This is something that's easy to say in a room. It's much harder to say when you're on your own out there. This is the encouraging moment. Those moments where we get to gather together and be excited together at what it is that God's done, preparing us, not for the gathering, but for the scattering. Because the church doesn't stop being the church when we leave this building. The church goes out into the world to do exactly what Jesus said, to be light to the world and salt to the earth, to be a city that stands on a hill, to live as a counterculture within the culture, to change up the world that you're a part of. And I want that to be your story. You see, every generation across every epoch of history has to decide whether to answer or ignore the call. Every generation across every epoch of history has to decide whether to answer or ignore the call. And I genuinely believe in the sovereignty of God. I genuinely believe that where we're born and the things into which we fall are not here by accident. I genuinely believe that God raises up a generation like yourselves for such a time as this to become radical disciples.